Good morning. The sun's just coming up. I don't know why I'm up. I got up early. No reason. Anyway, some people like to fish in the morning. More power to you, buddy. But I thought maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's more fish in the morning. I don't know. Maybe it's better to fish in the morning. I usually fish in the AM, but in the PM. See, I'm so tired I can't even talk. But I thought, you know what? Let's find out which is better, fishing in the AM or the PM. I'm going to finish this, then we're going to go fishing. I got a call from Jim White, who's my neighbor, and he was actually the former president of the Cape Fear Fly Fishermen's Club, and he'd love to get me involved with fly fishing. But one of the things he does now is he actually helps widows out who, when their husbands die and they have all this gear left over, he helps them find homes for the old gear. And he was showing me some of these old fly fishing rods and old fishing gear that he had. And if you guys are interested in it, you can contact me, and he's looking for homes for this stuff. One of the pieces he had, which I don't think he was wanting to get rid of, was a pen reel that he showed me, and this thing was like it's pretty old, but it was amazing that actually to look at this old pen reel, because I mean I have a lot of pen reels that don't look anything like that. So if you're interested, hit me up and I'll get you in touch with him, or if you want to learn about fly fishing. Anyway, I went down to the beach one morning, and I actually wasn't fishing. I was just going down there to kind of scope it out, and I was walking, and I ran into Scott and Lori fishing, and they were doing really well catching mullet, well, they're called kingfish, really, right? Okay, whiting, whatever you want to call them. And he was dropping them too, which made me feel really good. So I stopped and I talked to them and I took some pictures. So I was like, I'm going to go fishing in the morning. So I got up early in the morning, and look, this is the parking lot. Beautiful. Nobody there. And I parked in a parking spot designated for locals. And I walked down to the beach, and again, beautiful. Look at this. There's like somebody walking on the beach just for some exercise, and maybe a guy fishing down there, and that's about it. The beach was empty. So I was like, this fishing in the morning thing's got some potential here. So I said, let me just be straight up. Triangle pyramid rod, frozen shrimp, or maybe it was fresh shrimp from Clem's, but just pieces of shrimp, nothing fancy, 1-out hooks, and let's just see what I could catch. So I cast it out. I said, let's see what this AM thing's all about. What are the advantages here? And I got myself a whiting, which I dropped because I always drop the whiting. Now, he wasn't very sizable. He might have been 8 inches, so I was like, let me let him go. And it wasn't long before I caught another one, and he was also 8 inches, so I let him go. And then I caught another one, and I decided to measure him, and he was about 8 inches, and I almost dropped him, and I caught him because whiting are so slippery, and he was about 8 inches, so I decided to let him go. And I was like, wow, in the morning, you can definitely catch some whiting. Here's another whiting. This is all in the span between, let's say, 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning. Doubled up 2 whiting. I mean, I must have had a whole school of these things going on here. But they were one after another. And like I said, nothing fancy, just some pieces of shrimp. I wasn't fishing yabbies or anything fancy. Just shrimp and catching the whiting after whiting. Finally, I landed into something that was kind of big. And I was like, oh yeah, I got a nice big fish here. I'm going to reel this in. Finally got a decent whiting, right? Or something. It felt really good. And then you know what happened. It laid down, and I knew it was a ray. How many of these do I have to catch this year? And still, no cook and clean as promised. I'm actually going to release him and let him go. Swim, little Ray. Swim on your back. Okay, I'll flip him over. There you go. Swim, little Ray. Swim away. Anyway, I was like, let me do a little bit more fishing here in the AM. We got a lot of whiting. We got a ray. Let's see if we can catch something decent. And I did. I hooked up with another nice, big, heavy fish. And I was like, this feels like maybe a puffer. It was pulling in like it was a football. And I couldn't believe it. It's the first one I've caught all season. Wait till you see the size of this, too. Definitely in slot. I thought it might have been over slot. But it was the very elusive, can you see it? Stickfish. Yeah, the stickfish. And here it is, also known as the driftwood or root. But I measured him to see if it was any good, and I think it was in slot, but I decided not to keep it. I released it safely, and it swam back in the ocean. Actually, I threw it up on the dune so nobody else would get tripped up on it. And then after that, suddenly, boom, it just stopped. And I was like, oh, okay, the bite is totally stopped. It was on fire. So what do you do in the morning? Go get some breakfast. So I went to the Old Bridge Diner, took my wife and our friend Sylvie, and we decided to go in there. And, there was a little line. There were so many cars in the parking lot. It was amazing. So they took down our name, gave us a little beeper thing, and we sat outside for like a minute. And the hostess recognized me. She's like, "You're Sands in the Surf." And I was like, "No, just kidding. She didn't recognize me. It's one of my students." Anyway, we sat outside for like a minute, but they got us in really quick. So we went in and we got a table in no time. And of course, I asked for the best table, which they gave us, which happens to just be the booth on the left. So if you're trying to find out what the best table is, it's right there. Now, the place was really packed. It was totally full. And it came with money. Look at that. Ready, like tip ready to go. So I opened up the menu there, and it wasn't hard for me to decide. They had a lot of good breakfast, and they have some other meals too, like lunch and stuff like that. But it was morning. I wanted to get some breakfast. Definitely starting with a cup of coffee. The waitress came right over, took down our orders, and I decided I'm going to get the biscuit and gravy, and you can get one or you can get two. Why would you only get one if you can get two? So I got two with a side of liver pudding. Yum, delicious liver pudding. I like liver pudding. If you've never had it, give it a try. It's pretty good. And we got some grits and some bacon and some eggs and biscuits and just an omelet. Your basic straight up breakfast diner food, but so good. I mean, I haven't had biscuits and gravy in a while, so this was really a good way to get my strength back after reeling in all those whiting. So we left, and so I decided to do with the AM pros and cons. So I'm going to start with the pros. Number one, plenty of parking, no problem there. The beach was open, so I could have gone to any place on the beach I wanted to fish. There was definitely a quantity of fish. There were a lot of them. Scott and Lori were there, so how can you go wrong with that? And the stick bite was on fire, and how can you pass up the Old Bridge Diner? Now the cons, well, it's morning, so that was definitely a con. Anyway, decided to go in the afternoon because I had to do AM versus PM, and I'm driving along, and I'm just looking at the parking lots. Look, full of cars. Okay, on both sides. I'm only showing one side. Here I'm holding the camera. That's why you see my hand. But that parking lot's full. And I go past another parking lot. And guess what? That parking lot is full. I'm like, wow, I got to just keep going until I can find a parking lot. Maybe I'll find one. Might have been a spot in there. Pull in. I'm going to get a spot in this one anyway. And one with the sticker. Thank God I'm a local. I can pull up to the sticker spot. Otherwise, I've been out of luck. Where would I have parked? But now the problem was I walked down to the beach, and there are people up and down the beach. Now, I have found one little spot right here, and it looks a lot bigger than it was. And then there were people all the way up the other side of the beach. So this was the only spot I was going to be fishing, unlike in the morning. Now, there were swimmers on that side, and there were swimmers on that side as well. So I had to kind of throw my line out between the swimmers, and then they started to kind of drift over in front of me. And I'll zoom in a little bit. There, you can see them. So I had to kind of be careful. But they were cool, actually. They realized it, and then they got out and swam away. So I did catch a fish, not after too long. And a decent type of fish, not a decent size fish, but it did turn out to be a pompano. Now I'm using the same thing. I was going with a shrimp. I wanted to be consistent. The difference is in the morning, the tide was coming up, and in the afternoon, the tide was going out, right? So a little bit different there. And that was about 3:30 when I got there. About 4:30, people started to pack up, which was nice. And I got myself another fish, but it wasn't catching them like I was in the morning with the whiting after whiting after whiting. I got that pompano, and then I got the spot, and I like spot, but unless I catch a bunch of them, I'm not going to keep it, so he's going to go back. And then getting closer to 5 o'clock, 5:30, the beach really started to clear out. So maybe if I had waited till 5:30 to come down, I would have had a better chance. There's still lots of people on the beach, hard to see there, but there definitely still a lot of people on the beach. But it basically had died down. I got one more fish after that, this elusive seaweed fish here. And you can see I still had shrimp on there, so nothing was biting it. I decided to go out the next day, and I met up with this guy, Colton, and he is a fly fisherman, and so we decided to go fly fishing, but we went down into the surf, and it was just really rough, and it wasn't going to be good for fly fishing. Here you can see he's going to be throwing his fly fishing thing here in a minute. Look, 10 to 2, and get it out there. And we were down at the fish house. This is just the the wall over by the fish house, which is down by Blue Point Marina, and he got a fish on the fly right away. And it's a needlefish, which I have never even seen in North Carolina. I've seen him in Florida when I was down there fishing with Captain Josh before, but I've not seen him here. But he got one right away. So if you've never seen a needlefish, look at that right there. And it's jumping out of my hand. But wait, you got to check out its mouth opening. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit when it started opening its mouth and shutting it. Look at that. And it jumped out of my hand again. So time to throw him back. I could not believe we were at the Fish House restaurant, and this is about 4 o'clock, and there was already a crazy line. They don't open until 5. There was already a crazy line around the dock. Now, I did land a whiting, which was really decent size, and I didn't get a picture of it because I didn't have my camera on. But right after that, I caught this pinfish who actually just whacked my finger right there. Pinfish have sharp needle-like pins in the top, as you can see right there. And if you're not careful, they will poke holes in your finger like that. So while I was lamenting over my poked finger, my rod went off, and I happened to notice it, and I was like, let me go get that. So I started reeling it in, and I knew it was a good sized fish, so I was happy about it. I could feel it. It was tugging really good, and I got it up, and I thought, maybe it's a puppy drum? I'm looking at it, trying to figure out what it was, and I could not believe I got this fish, but it is a croaker. And it is a huge croaker. Look, I measured it. It's almost a foot long. Who catches feet long croaker? Like feet long, foot long? A big croaker like that. I usually catch like little 8-inch croakers. So anyway, I was happy with that. By 5 o'clock, the line was wrapped all the way to the parking lot for the fish house. So that must be a really good restaurant. All right, pros and cons of PM fishing. Starting with the cons, limited parking. I had to go through many parking lots to find a spot. Limited beach access. Yeah, there was that one little spot, and that was the only place I was going to fish. There were swimmers. I think the winds are higher in the afternoon in general than they are in the morning, but I put a question mark because that's not always true. And of course, the restaurant lines, with a W, are much longer at the fish house than they were at the Old Bridge Diner. Now, pros: quality of fish, nice big croaker, and it's not morning. So PM fishing, it's not morning. Hey, get out there and go fishing. It doesn't matter what time of day it is.